How's it, Marshall? Well, I hope it comes all there, Marshall. And you got yourself another Marie at the moment. Usually about 5 or 6 now, and join a little bit later. Well, let's see what happens anyway. Just have a look at the stuff. Not really very pretty, so they'll need to reduce it. Back down here. Hopefully it comes right. Okay, we'll just wait till what, 4 o'clock, and then we can get started, and then we can take it from there. Hope some more people join in. Yeah. I think stuck with the market at the moment. I don't know it's going to last forever, though. Not with the oil prices going up, eh? Yeah, so coming up, what, a minute's time, yeah. Right, 4 o'clock. Let's check what's happening there. As it should have been released, just refresh, wait for an update. Give me a moment. Should refresh automatically, just making sure. $9.93 million, expected 10.4, so slightly less job openings. So we'll see what effect that has on the dollar. Just give me a second, I'll put everything back in place on the other screen. Right. What's happened there? Microsoft took a bit of a jump. Let's try the euro dollar, see what happened there. Yeah. Okay, the dollar weakened. Okay. So the continual weakness of the dollar seems to be the way forward. I'm assuming then we'll get a bit of a move up on the Dow. As seems much you like, not much. Try the minute one. Jumped up a little bit, now it's coming off. That's typical. So I'll stick with 15 minutes at the moment. Something on the minutes. That's continuing up. So I've got an overall short trade doing me in. If it gets to 12.3, I'll be stopped out there. It's been a hectic 2 weeks. It's not been good at all. But anyway, it's been probably the same for quite a few. But my long on the Nasdaq, done on the new strategy which we're trying out, was doing okay, and so is the Dow. CHFJPY, it's a bit iffy, that. No, looks like it's been stopped out now. That's interesting, yeah, because the yen would have strengthened on the weekly. That's right, as mentioned this morning, yeah. So well done. At least you got out on that CHFJPY. Well bloody done. Clearly, I held on to it, so that's going to be knocked out now. The problem is, see, like I said this morning, stronger dollar means they're getting more yen for their dollar, which makes it good for the Japanese because they're an exporting nation. and by far the biggest customer is America. So as mentioned this morning, actually been borne out with a weaker dollar. So clearly then it's not so much about the Swiss franc, it's the strengthening, I would assume, on the, okay, let's have all the dollar yen. On the two of them together should be quite radical. Yep, okay, quite radical. It's just come off there. 60 pips in less than 3 minutes. Interesting, hey? Doesn't help much for the trading because it seems to get the overall picture. These things happen, and a lot of it's happening now. Look at these candles here. That's where your problem comes in. It becomes sort of a flick of the coin which way the fund is going to come in. So it's quite cheered me up. See, when Billy did okay, probably modified his stop and did it properly. So well done, because that was in the profit nicely earlier on. But clearly now that fund has come out, it's taken a smack. The other one was, what was it? CAD, CHF. Nothing together on that, but it might have been the same with the dollar. So again, same sort of thing, the short on it. Well, we've got a short on it as it speaks. But because it sort of seemed to go in line with the dollar, suddenly I just remembered that, hang on, we're Canadian, we're not dollar. So that might have something to do with it. That's ridiculous, but you never know this dark thing happens. Because it was jumping down with the dollar, up again. So it's come back to exactly where we entered. So anyone long or short, this is back to where they started from. Talk about that for a market. There's a couple of guys, or more than a couple of guys. Where are the trades? And I said the best trade now is to be patient, because well, look at that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to do the 1 minute or 1 million years. You're going to guess what's going to happen. That's just traders getting it out. High speed traders panicking, retail guys. Everyone's saying what's going on here, and that's why it's been shoved around. It's clearly human beings push it. They can't make a mind to push it up or down. To get in, getting out, and I think room of emotion taken over there. Whatever the situation is, we've got the trade back at break even, so we'll let that run. CHF JPY clearly has been knocked out on the fundy. The down and NAS on those longs on the EJ strategy. EJ strategy seemed to be going all right. We didn't get any other trades out, probably just as well. Got a fat smack on the Aussie dollar. That should be shooting up as we speak. Yep, so leave that alone. Some of the guys asked, should you join it now with a better price from the signal? I said, no, stay out of it. One guy said, so now the signal wasn't very good. Well, actually, maybe, yes, you're right. But there were reasons behind it. And those reasons are now quickly disappeared, so leave it alone. So you seem to be happy with that. Okay.
Sorry, Roger. The CHF JPY on EJ's strategy was knocked. Am I right?
That's correct. Remember discussing this morning about, we'll go back to it now, about how does the dollar affect the yen? Just where was it now? Here we are, just a second. Yeah, how does it affect the yen? Remember this morning, I think you were in with us this morning. In fact, I know you were. You know, I said that where it's correlated, not exactly, just put it back, it's Japan's an exporting nation. Its biggest customer is America. So if America's got a weak, that's the wrong way around, actually, a weaker dollar means they can buy less. It's actually the wrong way around, isn't it? Wrong way around.
Yes.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's like trying to stand your head and work out whether this is north or south or east or west. You're quite right. A stronger dollar should know I got it wrong. It's the other sodding way around. A weaker dollar means they can buy less, yet it costs more to buy their products. So why is that possible for the Swiss franc? Back to the bloody drawing board. That theory's just gone up the spout as well. Have you got any? You're a clever guy, Farney. What do you think the reason is? Because that's got me by the short and curlies. You saw. I mean, yeah. I mean, you do see what I mean. I mean, doesn't that be logical? If your biggest exporter is to South Africa, right, and you're exporting a lot of goods, a stronger rand, in theory, should mean they will have more money to buy your goods. I don't know. Maybe that's too much. I mean, I didn't get even my head's getting around in circles. Yeah, and that exactly. It should have been the other way around because, yeah, because the dollar is definitely weaker. We know that. Is it? Yeah. Try the euro dollar now. I've got it wrong. Try the pound dollar. Yeah, well, exactly. So the pound's gone up, which means the dollar's weakened. Yeah. A weaker dollar means it's going to cost more yen to buy. We can see that. Just go to the yen, like Jesus. You know what I mean? No, but the dollar's come down. Just try to get this in my head. The dollar's come down, so the yen has strengthened. That might be because the dollar's weak more than the yen. So try something else with the yen.
So you get less yen for $1. So
Well,
we
that's right. Go on. Help me out here, because maybe I'm getting mixed up. Help me out there. Maybe I'm trying to sort of like be triple bloody cross job. Now, definitely the dollar's weak.
Let's say when an item is $100, you would have paid 1,300 yen.
Okay,
now,
good enough.
For item of $100, you can pay
1,400 yen. Yeah. So now I'm exporting to you from Japan. It's now going to cost you 1,400 yen to buy my product, where before this came out, 1,300 yen. So my price has just gone up. Would that not be bad instead of good for exports? You see where I'm coming from? Make sense, Funny?
Yeah, but hang on, the yen did decrease in strength, which means that for each dollar now you pay, say, 129 yen instead of 130. So your product in Japan is actually 1 yen cheaper.
Let's just try and work this out. Right. Let's make a round figure of 1,000 yen to the dollar, 100 yen to the dollar. Right. So now it's $1. Now so now because of the weaker dollar, it's now costing, let's make it a big difference, 150 yen. So when I buy your car now, it's going to cost me 150 yen instead of 100 we did 5 minutes ago. So the price has gone up. So I might change my mind about buying your product because now it's more expensive. Having said that, you could say that a lot of these goods are bought on tick. So the yen now is going to get more yen in because you still owe them. So in other words, you just bought this product off me and you put a deposit down and now you're paying to me in dollars. So I'm getting more yen for it. That might, on the debt principle, that might have more to do with it than the actual foregoing cost, because the cost will rise clearly for the American purchaser if its currency weakened, which is clear, which obviously that's why you've got to pay more for oils in dollars when the dollar strengthens, the rand weakens. So all I can think of is maybe because the debt owed, they're getting more yen coming in because the dollar's weakened. That might be something to do with it. Yeah. What about that for an idea? What do you think? Anyone got any comments on that? So I might be able to bring something more to the party on that. Thank you, Murray, for your support on that. It's kind of, it's like, am I going north or south? No, you're looking up forward. You think you're going north, but actually going south. You're looking forward. I'm trying to get the right way around here. So I'm going to stick with that. The only way I can think of the other way around is the money they owe over there means there's more yens coming in. Thank you very much. That's the only way I can look at it. Unless, of course, the guys out there haven't worked it out yet. Sadly, will have got it the wrong way around. But I don't think so. But yeah, anything to add on that, guys? You know what I'm saying? In theory, I'm buying from you in South Africa, and sorry, I'm selling to you in America, and I'm from South Africa. It's going to cost me more the weaker yen because I've got to give you more bloody rands for the product. So therefore, it's going to curtail demand, in my opinion. Why do you think they come to the oil in a minute? I was going to show you the oil price gone up. It means it's going to cost It means it's going to put the price up because they decreased production. I'm going to stick that theory. It means the world got it wrong and I've got it right. Got to stick up for yourself. But it doesn't really matter got it right or not. The dollar has weakened, the yen is therefore strengthened. Interesting. Okay, well, there we are then.
Okay,
So
I
there-
understand what you're saying. For me, it makes sense. Absolutely. You can even compare it with the rand dollar. It's exactly the same.
Same principle, that's what I'm trying to get at. That's why I mentioned it this morning. And now I'm just looking right. Well, the only way I can say is, finally, I've just sold you this $100,000 product. You didn't give me $100,000 cash. You gave it to me. We did a rand dollar exchange rate. You put down 10% deposit. So you still owe me $90,000 in rands. So because of my currency, your currency weakening, I'm going to get some more rands out of you. So that's where my rand will strengthen soon and come up with. Otherwise, it makes no sense. But again, I hate to go into great detail and technicals here. When you do business in other countries, that's what we use something called swaps for. What we do is you swap floating for fixed. So you basically have, that's what they call them, swaps. They go through institutions, swap floating for fixed. So we're having a fixed exchange rate when we're doing business. So it won't be affected by the machinations. And the other guy who swapped it to thinks either it's going to weaken or strengthen, and he preferred to have a float to make use of it. So they often cover their ass, like a hedging we talked about the other day, by using a swap. And if you're doing big business like Toyota, and that is big business, they're probably having probably have a fixed exchange rate swap to actually protect them. They'll certainly have hedges in place anyway. So it can't be that simple, in other words. Anyway, it looks like Microsoft is, well, it would hit. Because, I mean, if that happens like the dollar, then the likely effect, which is definitely happening, that makes sense, is the Dow and the NASDAQs like to go up now with the Microsoft, a bit of both, actually. Dow and the NAS. We'll concentrate on the NAS. The NAS is obviously going up. Let's go and look at the 15-minute one. It shows me. That does make sense. So that will carry like a momentum field of any tech stocks in there. Wow. Wow. A guy just asked me, I'm decided to go into gold. What do you think is a good idea? Buy. I said, yeah, I think it is a good idea. He's going to think I'm a hero. I'm happy to tell him oh dear me. And that $1950 trade I wanted to get out, we chickened a little bit out of it. Why is it one you chicken out giving is abuse? The one you don't, it doesn't turn out that way. That would have been an absolute beauty. Well, it wouldn't actually, because you'd been out at 2000 anyway. You would hit your TP. Unless you're alert and you modified it, which most people either miss it, especially in a time like a funding comes out. They probably, just in case, took the profit. They want to see the thing flying off. So you probably would have been out, let's be honest. But yeah, look at that. Whoa, 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 whoa. You see what I mean? When guys ask, so I'm going to trade out today, now you can see why. Just as well, I sat my hands this morning, didn't get the guy to send anything out. Thank goodness. Because let's just say it's gone short that profit had been exactly the opposite. $66 $16. Oh, rubbish. $26, sorry. I know you ought to know that. Yeah.
But what fundi came out to push the dollar up like that?
The job openings, the JOLTS job openings. I'll read it out to you again. Came out at 4, not up as 2 for whatever reason. Expecting 10.4 and the 9.93 million. Sorry, expecting more 10.4 more job openings. They're expecting. In other words, more jobs created, and only 9.93 jobs were created. Now, don't get your head around that and give me another headache there, Mr. Farney, because in that case, it could be less inflationary.
Exactly.
So less inflationary. But no, again, if it's less inflationary, it might put the brakes on interest, might even bring them down again, which add to a weaker dollar. Now, yes, I got that one. That I can work out. But I'm still figuring out, unless it's because they owe money, it's the yen. But I think it's probably more complex area bonds, swaps, and covered positions on that area of the loans. Because in theory, that should be a situation where it's bad for Japan because it makes your exports more expensive. Well, I know that for a fact, but that's why in the past, several years ago, they kept on selling the yen because the yen was strengthening because it was so dominant at that time. Everyone was buying Japanese goods. You had a Japanese Seiko watch on, or a Toyota, or a Canon, or a Nikon, or Kawasaki, or Suzuki. You get the idea. They were just getting South Korean countries were coming in producing goods, and they say, "Yeah, we're brand conscious, we like the quality of Japanese goods, but now it's just getting too expensive." Sony had that major problem. It just got too expensive to buy the stuff, and they kept on putting like $80 billion shorts on that. That's capital, enormous money. And remember, it's leverage to force it down. And suddenly you have a jump down on the yen and start picking up again because the exporting was so huge. And the problem is they don't import much except for oil. They import virtually sod all except for oil. You think what's the fancy word? We're parochial over here. If you try the Japanese, somebody died unfortunately, an ex-tour guide, and he said to get Japanese to travel much is difficult because they want, all their culture to go with them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they apart from all because they're an addict, they import that, but that's about as far as it is. Everything they just sort of chow themselves, or maybe some rice or chicken pie or something. Anyway, that being as it may, look at this $220, $220, You see what I mean, guys? Don't blame me. Don't blame your wife or your husband or your cat, your dog. Give them a kick. When these things happen, hopefully fairly knowledgeable guys like myself and Marius can do a bit of thinking. Sometimes think, what the heck's going on here? And that's unpredictable. If you're going long, you think you're a hero. If you're going short, quick trade's a bloody zero. I mean, whatever it is, it's got nothing to do with quick trade or yourself. You came right, lucky you. You bought the right lottery ticket. This is ridiculous. Well, it would do. It falls in the back, my dearie. If gold goes up and silver goes down, I promise you, I'll pack my bags and take up something else because that is going beyond a joke. You know what I mean? Then you give up. It's a lotto, didn't Tommy? Total lotto at the moment. That's why I didn't get a trade out today and pushed one a little bit yesterday. Only pushed down, but it looked okay. It wasn't pushed, maybe the wrong word to use. But it turned out, and I thought, that's it, mate. I'm standing aside now. Because to be honest, most guys haven't been nasty to me. The person being most nasty to me is me, myself, I put a lot of pressure on myself because I don't like it when you get bad trades, especially when they come from me. And so I've just sort of taken a back seat. I missed this one. And I really went over. I said, "This must do it." Of course, naturally, because I did, the thing took off. There's a lot of Murphy's Law there. What are we looking at there? Gold, silver, Yeah, that would have taken off as well. I mean, it goes on the back of it. If that shot down, trust me, guys, I give up. Then I would seriously give up. It does make sense. Okay. Okay, so there we are. Fun days had by all.
I think so. Whenever I reach a stop loss, I always trying to figure out what is it that I did wrong.
I'll answer your question quite simply here, Wendili. Go to the shop and buy what's called a lucky pill and overdose on it. That's probably the best strategy. That's not your fault, mate. It's not your fault.
Overdose and then I get you there.
Well, at least you got a smile. Hopefully a few other people listen to his face as well. There's a bit less than you do. You get up in the morning these days, first thing you do is you pack your sense of humor because you get a damn well needed. Maybe add a big double dose of lucky pills because hey, fire, you know what I mean? That ain't your fault, mate.
I wish they would make one. Lucky pills.
I think the old blue pill, the Viagra blue pill, would be a tiny seller compared to the lucky pill if that's such a thing, eh?
Yes. But everyone is dead.
I'm 125 years of age, and my wife is 25. I still wouldn't buy the Viagra blue pill. I would go and buy the lucky pill. just to show how important you think the thing is. That's a joke, by the way. She's 26, not 25.
Yes, I like your sense of humor.
Yeah, no, well, you have to be a slight sort of a strong sense of the ridiculous when a lot of things around you in life are pretty sort of nonsensical. Hey.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, if it's not going too on, so again, a flat depression, have a bit of banter, crack a couple of jokes. I remember once, it was a few years ago, and I was sitting there with my mate having a couple of beers, feeling a bit sorry for myself. And some guy sitting not far from us overheard us. I can't remember the same the story, but he made some comment about it, not just sort of a comedy. And I suddenly put in perspective, I was feeling sorry for myself. So I just burst out laughing. He just broke the spell. Now I'm back in a reasonable mood again. Suddenly put in perspective. I'm not dying out there. I'm not starving out there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there who've got serious problems, not because the bloody Dow's jumped around or the Silver's jumped around. You know what I mean? As Boris Becker, the tennis player, said, we're all getting so upset when he lost Wimbledon against Stefan Edberg. And he's the first to say, I'm sorry as well, but it's not life or death. It's a game of tennis, guys. Anyway, so there it is. Now the Nasdaq's trying to come back again. I give up. If anyone can find a trade, mate, good. That's come back as well. So find a trade out of this lot. Well done. Look at that now. Now that's decided can't fly back off. What's the dollar doing now? Probably doing it all over the place. No, it's still coming off. So the Dow decides to go the same way as the dollar, which is the wrong way around. I'm telling you, right, these guys know about as much as everywhere else did the first day they picked up a stock market package and turned to page one. And that's what's happening. It's just yeah. Funny revealing, but yeah.
Sorry, but when the dollar's going down, the Dow's supposed to go up.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. It makes no starting sense. Exactly. It's like you and your chemicals. You study for 5 years, you get your chemical degree, for example, chemical degree, and they award you with a job, I don't know, being a surgeon. What? Yeah, offer you a job as a surgeon, but I got a chemical degree. Nah, don't worry about it. I'll give you, it makes no sense. I'm trying to be ridiculous here. I can't think of some sort of insane analogy, but that's what I mean. That's exactly what I'm on about. That's what I'm laughing at. What the hell that thing? And that's coming off now. I looked at the dollar index, that's coming off nicely. So what the hell is that coming off? I tell you what I think it is. It's just massive big players don't know either. So they're getting in massive positions because they don't have the costs involved. They're probably computer generated. They're not even human beings involved. Just getting out. So some big player probably took a massive profit taking. When you're a profit taking on the long, remember you're selling, so it brought it down. So a couple of other computers would spot that, jump into some short, and they're quite happy to get out. They don't have spreads like this. They probably have only got half a pip spread, never mind 10. So probably you need something you know spread that work there. Maybe Goldman Sachs, I know it works there, but prop traders sometimes have minute spreads. You might even have down to virtually zero. So in fact, I know the high-speed traders work on zero. They work purely as deal desk for the company. So basically what they'll be doing, the shorts will come in. If it bounces up a bit, they will be out, maybe followed up as a long. So that's just the high-speed traders playing around the price at the moment. I'm just thinking, I'm not competing. Well, yes, I'm just thinking, because on a rational basis, forget it, mate. That doesn't make sense.
Very true. So in the end of the day, looking at it, I mean, it seems like trading is not worth my while because I'm not getting anything out of it. I just continue paying for the last 9 months. Even for the classes.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say, I mean, we all get a bit negative and down in fighting and sticking with it. But when you get this sort of thing here, I have to say, you sometimes wonder because you make a step forward, a step back. I hear you. I'm not trying to discourage people. My job is to encourage people and help them. And we've had some good runs, I must admit. But then you get a fantastic run, and that's unfortunately when people, unfortunately, due to nerves of the market, take the profit too quick. And unfortunately, when you do get 10 or 12 trades that work out, because you're taking profits too quick, because understandably lack of confidence, which I get, when it suddenly turns bad, the 3 or 4 bad trades can make up for the 10 wins. It's not the other way around. So it'll say we'll do a risk reward here, let's say 2 to 1, but it only works out if 3 trades hit the target to make it, you know, and 5 trades hit the stop loss, clear you in a profit. But a lot of the time, the guys are taking the trade a profit so quick that they made 5 winning trades of, let's say, 10 rand each, but the losing trade, they lost 50, or they modify the stop loss away and end up losing 80 and things like that. So that's a lot to do with it, yeah. But again, I take your point, I'm not unsympathetic. When you get a situation where it's irrational, no, I mean, it's not a gambling situation where you're just going emotionally, like I'm a bet on that horse because it's got the same name as my wife. You know what I mean? Then it comes in or whatever. That's just, you know, but when it comes in illogically, that's the time to take a step back and say, wait till logic comes back in again. But I've been through all this as well. I'm still here. But just always remember, never get ahead of yourself. You're going to get good runs. And that's when the sight comes in. You got to be disciplined and say, hang on a minute, you know. But it is very, very frustrating, yeah.
But just look at it, it's continuously going down. This morning when I've done a risk and reward 2 to 1, and all of a sudden it turned around, I mean, I'm being knocked out.
Yeah. Yeah. What can I say? Yeah. Yeah. That, unfortunately, is recent fundamentals, and that's a tough part of it. That's why I've often said to the guys in here, please don't take your profit too quickly, rather modify, but not too close. But a lot of them do chicken out and take it because they're so sick of the up and downs. And they bank a profit, but it's very small compared to, because remember, your TP doesn't hit very often, but your stop loss is. In fact, almost 100% hit rate on the stop loss. But that's emotional. But yeah, I hear you. At the moment, that's why I'm not to give any good trades. I mean, my trades over the last, since November, was it? Yeah, November, is it? Yeah. It's about, what, 5 months, Christmas, call it 4 months. I've looked back at them, and the winning trades definitely in the region about 60, just over 60%. Up till nearly 70 actually, up till about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Then we're down. I think about 6, lost about 3, 4 winners. But then again, look at the Brent. The Brent was a beaut. It hit the TP, but very few people left on board, unfortunately. If they held on to that Brent, then it would have been a different ballgame. Then there would have been, you know, the maths would have worked in their favor.
So does it mean the trick about trading is as soon as you start making the profit, you immediately modify the stop loss so that when it goes back up?
Yeah, that's the idea, but that's different to the past. In the past, I used to only modify the stop loss when it got next to TP, and when it got next to TP, because I used to work out, because it didn't have all this fundamental interference. What I used to do then is I immediately modify my stop to break even, and then I'd cut my position in half, bank half, and then what I would do, because I'd have a line on the chart, it wouldn't be a TP, I would be kicked out. And then I'd modify the TP to my TP2, and then if it got to TP2, I'd cut my position again and modify until I was eventually stopped out. Yeah.
Okay.
But modifying is, yeah, because the trouble is when you modify, if you get it too close. And often what happens, it comes down. Let's say you were long on this, you were down here, and you bought down here somewhere. Let's pretend it's down there. You're doing beautifully up here, and then you modify, even if you're not too close, do there. And maybe it's an idea to modify just about there, just before a major US 3-star fundamental comes out. If you're knocked out there instead of down there. If you leave it down here and it comes jerking off, you're knocked out. You made that profit, which is better than nothing, but it doesn't make up for your loss when you make it because your loss was down there. And now it's recovering, but you're not on board. That's it. That's the one. There's always a downside as well as an upside. And one of the downsides when you modify, you've got to keep it some distance. And that's the major problem with the indices. They're far more volatile. So you can't put a 20, 30, 40, or even a 50 pip stop loss in the Dow because it'll just knock you out in the general movement. And that's the issue. But yeah, it's when you've got this fundamental interference, it is extremely unpredictable. I would say difficult, it's probably the wrong word. Difficult you can overcome. It's unpredictable. You don't know of your action is going to happen, whether you're knowledgeable or not, and that's the issue. For instance, I don't know if it's going to continue up to there or stop there and come down again. It's completely unpredictable. And that's the problem. What I can say that a lot of that move down was a big move, probably the high-speed computer-driven prop traders, and then joined by the short sales as well as the people exiting their position by selling. And now they're all out, they're going in, and some more guys are coming in now to push it back up again. But how far is that going to look at? It's coming up again as you speak. You can't predict that. That's why I'm saying it's not supposed to be despondency here and frustration. I completely get what you're saying, Fani and company. But that's when you take a step back and say, just hang on. Don't start calling up people who will come up with some fancy idea. It's unpredictable at that stage. Look, it just came down there, that's jumping up. That's almost certainly high-speed traders jumping it around. So we're going to have to take a step back on this, wait till it settles down, and then you take an overall position where you say, if it comes right, keep that stop out of the way and see if we can progress it through to the finish line. Brent was a classic example of it, where it went and turns out above the TP. But then you could have modified the TP. It was so programmed, we sort of be jumping around, not in our favor. We completely have done it ourselves in the SL. We forget the TP. And that occasion where you would have modified the TP out of the way, modified your stop, kept a decent distance, and that therefore you'd still be in. But the major issue is at the moment with these fundamentals, whoever you are, whatever you've done, it's becoming this sort of stage unpredictable. But I have mentioned with the problem of the banks failing, with the overhang of recession coming in, with the inflation problems got over there, this is a build-up, in my opinion, of a calm before the storm. I think that might go back up to 35,000. I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, it'll be a lot easier once we get this highly expected, including myself, and I'm not the only one, massive pullback or massive correction. I hate to use the word crash, it's a horrible word, but massive pullback. Once that's up, if you're lucky enough to be on board the short, well bloody done. And then you can go bargain hunting, and then you get the rationality coming back in again. At the moment, it's top heavy, fears of recession, daily news coming out of all sorts of turbulent economic worries and information. Then you had a bit of news, a big reaction, then it stilts and it comes off a bit. This is sort of where it's dodging around near the zone where it's likely to come off. The problem's obviously we don't know when. It could continue back to 35,000 hover, and then it'll take a trigger, sit out in the past, and then it'll fall. Once it starts to fall, and the guys like the run on the back get on board, then you'll start to see the thing move. Then you can join it. And then even easier, it won't be as quick, but even easier when you found the bottom, holds the bottom, starts, you've got bargain hunting. It's slower, but it's a lot more easy to predict, and then you can make bucks out of it. That's just after the 2008 situation. This is brimming up the other way around, where big bucks were made on the way back up again. And then we had one of the longest bull market runs in history. Just now, it's just so top heavy now. And the politicians all saying no recession, and the economics saying and yeah, so there it is.
Yes, Roger, I understand all this, but I need some advice. I'm looking now at Microsoft. Microsoft was about 22 pips up in profit. Yeah. And then I was waiting and waiting, and now it knocked me out on a 2-to-1 ratio. So, I mean, how do I prevent that? Because all of a sudden, it just, the market's open and immediately it start turning around in the wrong direction. You'll see, oh, shucks, it's all of a sudden the price increased by 1%. And there's nothing you can do because except keeping your stop loss where you originally had it.
Yeah,
And
okay. I hear you, but where do you have to stop? Because I'm in this thing. My stop's at 295. Where was yours?
it was a 290 as per the.
Okay, the original one. Yeah. Okay, that was the original one. Yeah, because we got another one out. I think. Let's have a look. Mailbox. I think it came out. I'm not sure. We had another one out on Microsoft. Yeah, we are. 294. Beg your pardon. Sorry, 294.
But you see, we and I mean me and maybe in Tombi, we took it already the day before the next day because it was so late. And at that point in time, it was at 290. So our entry was slightly different. I said, okay, let's keep it that way because that was originally our risk to reward.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, because in other words, you got out on day one and the TR we discussed, fine. The next day, it's a different price, a better price it turns out, to send out that price. Yeah, I get you.
I need to work on a strategy to get rid of this. And the problem is the moment if it turns and it's in profit and I take it, then the risk to reward is so low that I need to have 20 trades positive against 10 that I lose.
Yeah, I get that, which is not that easy as we know. That's why we're trying to work on something else here. Let's go the down, right, the NAS and the Dow, trying to get some more positive back into it. It's still in profit on the new strategy we're trying. The Dow, you might have been stopped out if you modified. It was above 206, you might have modified to 100 below. The Dow, yeah, you'd have been stopped out now. You should have been stopped out because if it went up to this area here, so let's say you didn't follow it to that point, you wouldn't have done. Let's say you modified around about this level, so you should have modified to maybe 33,500 or 550. You'd have been stopped out on this fall, if you see what I mean. And that would have been a profit from your entry at 33.1. It's still in a profit. You should have been stopped out if you'd modified on this one at 100 pips. So that would have worked out, trying to bring some hope back in it. CAD CHF, what was it CAD CHF? I think it was. Yeah, CAD CHF, 67.88 was a sell. Not on my great idea. Remember, there was a sell area, went to the 1 hour, we discussed beforehand. And at the moment, sorry, try on the hour chart here. At the moment, it's a bit of luck and judgment. I get it now because of that. So I'm not going to try to take too much accolade, but we worked it out principally because it was on the lower than this area here, wherever it was, on the hour here. When did we take it yesterday? Was that here somewhere? I can't remember. We took it somewhere around about this level here as a sell because it was a sell on the daily. If you remember, it was a downside on the daily. See what I mean? And we went to the hour, so we took that. So from those three trades on this new idea, not too bad. Trying to put, so that's a new strategy area. That's why we discussed at the beginning of the week, or no, was it Friday? Sorry, is trying to these found strategies around these economic fundamentals that are coming out and completely stabbing them back. Because even if you know they're coming out, obviously, even if you know what they are, the result is utterly unpredictable. Because even it's better or less than expected, and you can even read on the fundamental what it's like to have that specific currency. Often that doesn't happen. Sometimes there's a small difference and there's a big movement. Sometimes a big difference in the expected and the result and the actual, and then you get a small movement. So it's completely unpredictable the way it's actually the reaction on the price action to those fundamentals. That's why we're trying this out. And so far, I'm keeping a journal. We'll discuss it later on in the week, maybe Thursday properly, maybe in the afternoon session just before Friday, Good Friday, and we'll look back on it and see how they actually have done. Because so far, just using this strategy alone, which is far simpler, far easier, to be honest, seem to be ahead of the game. And that's the whole point.
With this strategy, Sorry,
Tom?
with this strategy, maybe I do something wrong because I haven't had one of these that did not knock my stop loss.
Okay, well, let's look. CFJPY, we'll go to the losers first. Yep, that didn't do well. NAS and Dow, yes, that was okay. CAD, CHF, so far so good. What else? CFJP, we discussed that. Where AUD, CHF. No, didn't go for it in the end, sorry. Euro NZD, lost. CHF, JPY, well, we didn't go for it, okay. AUD, JPY, I haven't got anything down there. What happened there? AUD, JPY. I haven't got what happened there. AUD, JPY, 88.23, okay, those are losers, okay. AUD, CBB, CHF lost. AUD, USD, that won. Dollar yen lost. GBP CAD successful, US dollar Swiss franc successful, euro dollar successful. So that's probably around about 50-50. Not as good as I thought, but 50-50 is better than, you know, what others happening. And that's when the whole bloody situation's not so good. That's not good down here anyway. Didn't exactly count them all out, but it seemed to be about 50-50. And I'll be honest with you, if you just talk pure pips, I'm ahead of the game because I did okay on the Dow. I got 150 pips out of the Dow, so I did okay on that one. And that made up for, let's say, 3 or 4 losses of 30, 40, 50 pips, if you get my point. So I'm net up on pips, put it that way. That's since Friday.
Okay, but there's where I have a problem. I do something wrong. Maybe I do not adjust my stop loss quickly enough due to the fact that I'm not all the time in front of the screen or something. But for me, it really did not work that far. So I need to adjust it further.
Gotcha. Well, yes and no. Yeah, not in front of the screen. There's still ways around that. I get that. Just got to get the old concept involved. You're take the short where you did. You hold on. Let's say your stop is up here, right? Because you're going up. You shorted it for argument's sake. But if the close is, let's say, above there, you might have taken it. There's a couple I took. I'll tell you now. One was a 35 pip loss. One was a 34 pip loss. And another one is, where is it now? 25 pip. And one was another 40. So the only one that's hit me is the 50, because I'm talking to you, is the CHF JPY. So a lot of them were actually less than the 50 on currency. I'm talking about the indices. I've only done 2 of those. They're both been pretty good. Combined, I'm still in the NAS, but I can't lose on it at the moment because I haven't modified anyway. But the Dow, I got in, I think, 156 altogether out of it. So I'm net ahead on pips, but they were less than the 50, except because when it started opening on the hour above it, I took it. Oh, I've got some time to do it. But you can still, if you're busy doing things, I know you might be 2 hours, you can't suddenly look at this all the time, but it might be an idea after a period of time, just check on your phone and keep it with you, have data with you, just to check so you can just modify in the meantime. But I do know, following the strategy, nothing clever about it, seem to be ahead of it, you know. Not doing anything clever than basics, not looking at any fibs or anything like that. 1 or 2 I might say there's a fundamental coming, I'll leave it, or it's pretty strong resistance there on the 4 hour, for argument's sake. I might skip that one, but the others are not too bad. And remember, I did okay with the indices, because the indices, even if I want 50-50, it was about 65-35. I've still done okay out of it because I made so much on that down. Well, we'll go over it again. Stick with it anyway. That's all I can say, guys. Stick with it and finally stick with it. Maybe do a couple of very tiny ones, or even a paper, I don't know, whatever, just to get the confidence back a bit using a simpler, straightforward strategy. Because trying to understand how the reaction is going to be on the fundamental release is virtually what reaction you're going to get from a guy stuffed in with drugs. It's usually often completely irrational. That's why half the crime is a problem. It's not professionals. They'll steal your stuff, but then they'll let you go. When a guy's on the lam and he's high and you look at him the wrong way, he stabs you and then runs off with your 100 rand, 200 rand, 1,000 rand cell phone. Why? Because he's on the high. Don't do the cell phone.
No, I agree. No, thank you. I'm not trying to whine. It's just
No,
a
you're
matter
not. You're trying to.
I
no,
need to,
sorry,
and I
no.
don't want the guys to get negative because I am confused and I am getting slightly in Afrikaans, we call it lekker gatvol.
Nothing about Afrikaans. That's anybody who likes the language and understands that. Upful, brilliant with it. I love that word. Yeah, no, no, it's not a whinge at all. It's discussing ways out of it. Too much this positive thinking, push it under the carpet, keep your fingers crossed. No, you've got to adjust and make a plan and discuss it openly. That's what we're doing. Everyone can't just say, oh, as soon as it rains, I'm going to give up. What's that famous Lynn Anderson song? The Rose Garden? I never promised you a rose garden. You remember that song? Yeah, so discuss it a bit and then we'll work its way through. There's this fear of actually saying anything is real or negative. It's not negative or it's a reality to give you the bump start to make a plan. I think completely different on that one. And I think it's a good idea. Yeah. To discuss. So, you know, I mean, if you're having a bit of a situation, let's discuss it and organize it and solve it. Otherwise, you go into depression, jump out the nearest window, and that doesn't make anything better at all. No. But hatful, of course you got a hatful. Well, I mean, I had a hatful the last 3 days. And it doesn't translate. You can't say gatful, can you? You got to say, it's ridiculous. You're right. Exactly. I've got a gatful. I mean, it sounds completely bizarre. No, I've got a hatful. And even if I didn't know the language, they came down from Mars. I know when the guy's got a hatful, he ain't a happy chap.
What about something like stuffed ass?
A stuffed ass? No, I did a stuffed ass sounds tad on the vulgar side. Hatful, I like that. It's got more oomph and it's not really vulgar. Cut means, oh, I have a hole full. I mean, I've been to Cut in Kimberley. You know what I mean? I've got a lekker box of, I've got a lekker dose of wine in the fridge. You know what I mean? It's just, we put a vulgar interpretation of it, but the word's still a box of wine. You know what I mean? Why should, you know? I'm a bit, I've got a hatful as well. Brilliant. Yeah. I remember I went overseas to see my parents after a few years over here, to say how whatever. It's, oh, this bloody thing's giving me a hatful. Father says, I don't know that word, but I can guess what it means. How do you say it again? The two of us say hatful. You got it right. And then I tried to get him on Meneer Potgieter from Potgietersrust. We gave up on that one. We couldn't make that one. Yeah. Anyway, guys, we're going off because I haven't got any more trades. I think more of this is going to be because I've got it for you guys, so I'm ramping a bit down, a bit of a therapy session. So, you know what I mean? We've got to try and stand strong together when the opposing army is looking pretty hectic. 3 against 3,000, and the three of us are taking a bit of strain here. Okay, let's take a step back and have a look. It's a CH, yeah, we've got it in front of us. Still doing okay. Sorry about Ntombi, but it's doing okay. I'm not so well. That's a bloody lie. I'm very pleased about it. Where's the Dow? It's probably popping up again as a guess. Try the 15. No, got that wrong. I had a guess. So much for a guess. I don't know. I think it's overdone this. I think we're going to set up some chances here. When all the motion and fuss has settled down, the irritation, I think we're going to start finding some. I think we're going to find some chances here. That's clearly taken that out. We're just getting in the way. Taking that out. So the weekly, yeah, getting up here. I think it's going to be overcooked there, and we might have a smile back on our face later on the week. If not the non-farms, maybe not going into next week. We might either find a direction, a shoot up there or down. But we'll probably get a better answer there. So we'll find something. Maybe short on gold. That's overcooked. What do you think of that? There's a bloody roughy, toughy one. Against the trend. No EJ strategy there, my friend. What about a pull back on gold? What about that? I don't think so. Yeah, look at that 15 minutes. Maybe get a pull back on gold. I haven't got the nerve though. Ah, okay, Morris. Let's get some sense and feet on the table here. You're going to make up because our good friend Anna Maria's left, so you've got to keep us on track here. GBP CHF. Right, let's go to the daily. Let's have a look at it. Clearly a buy. Let's look at the hourly. Yeah. I agree. I don't think the ship sell on the hourly. Always look, it might look a big candle. It's March to the other day, it's flying off. Yeah, the 1 minute candle on. So it threw off 5 pips. It looks a lot in the 1 minute. It's only 15 pips. Where can you put the stop? Up here is 50. Yeah, put the stop up there for normal. And then just ride it down. I think so as well, yeah. Yep, the 15 minute confirms it as well. No, 30 minute won't give much help. Yeah, try that one. Just to get a bit of confidence going, try it small. Small. It's coming off as we speak. So we do it? Okay, do it. Where's this thing here? Should we jumping up a bit? Is it jumping up a bit? Got to go sometime. Make it, yeah, make it 57 then. 57. That's what 1.1357. Stop 1.1407. GBP CHF. Sell. Try that. Okay, see how that goes. And by the way, if it doesn't go well, Barney, I know a nice cliff where some pretty jagged rocks are about 100 meters below. So we'll hold each other, we'll jump off together in a suicide bid, and it'll be quick because the jagged rocks it'll be instant. And then we'll go up somewhere else, probably a little bit better. Go to Trader's Paradise.
Please don't disguise a parachute underneath your coat.
I thought of that, something on the ball. Meanwhile, as he's flying through, I sort of shoot up the parachute cord. Roger, you bastard! Bang! Good point. That appeals to my sense of ridiculous, yeah. As you probably gather, I got a very strong one. What's the last words he said? You bastard! And then the wife leans over, and he doubles your suffering by saying, "And you forgot to change your will. You've left it all to the cat's home." You have a sell stop on that one. Okay, where with an open that's fair enough. On the gold, you've got a sell stop. Where do you want to get on gold? Break back below 2,000 or where? Oh, 15, okay, 2:15. And you got a sell stop at GBP CHF at 28. Well, let's see, I've gone in now, so let's see what happens. It's a funny thing, psychology, you know, a bit of a laugh when things go wrong. When it goes right, you're always very serious because you're always very worried. When's it going to go wrong, sort of thing. US dollar, ooh, bloody hell, for sure. Okay, AUD NZD for sure. Let's saw that first. Well, clearly it's short on the 1 hour. No, I'm not too sure about that. Not too sure about that. Look at that. It's a daily chart. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times including to have bounced today. So we'll say 10 times, it's bounced off that support line. What makes you think it's going to continue? They're pretty similar economies as well, similar language, similar accents, similar cultures, bang next door to each other, difference in size, but that's, you know, that's not really the issue. The Luxembourg is the richest country in the world by GDP per person, if you like, although it's tiny compared to, let's say, China in population. So, no, if you want to go back to it, I will, but anyone in favor, speak up, or forever hold your peace, as they say, but I know. US dollar yen, that's on the daily's got more likely. We can take the stop loss down about 100 pips. We can put the TP, we'll have to go for 4 out of that one. So we'll work. Trouble is sudden fall here, you're not going to risk reward. So you've got to hope it's going to get a bit of a jump to get a risk reward. No. I think wait for a bit of a jump. There might be a profit-taking jump. I'm not so sure I'm going to be chasing it now, but I know I'm not going to chase it now. So it's not going to be up short. I ain't chasing it now. If I miss it, I miss it. But I'd rather get a profit-taking bounce, a short covering bounce, get a better price, and I prefer to have the stop higher up and then take it down there, and I'll be okay. So I agree with the short, but let's just get all this fuss out the way. Might be some profit taking. Remember, I talked about a lot of guys taking the profit too quickly. Well, not just here, sitting in this trading room. It's a universal emotional aspect. It comes from the human psyche. Never mind where you come from. It's nothing to do with your culture, religion, or your gender, race, or beliefs, or whatever. So there might be some profit taking there. People getting nervous. You got in short on that one, and you're doing fine. You don't sit swallowed away. You're going to probably be taking it. You've got to buy it to take a short, might bounce. I agree with the short. I might get a bounce, and then we can look at it go down again. That's my take on those two. Any other comments on that? Do you agree, disagree? Does anyone think, stop that, I'm going to go in now? Or do you want to buy it now? But I'm going to stay. What do you think?
I agree. There's a little bit of was a support on 132, 300. So maybe if it retraces back to that, then we can enter for a short.
Yeah, or even around here. You still get a stop up there, which is fine, and take it back down. If the dollar is still weak below 102, obviously you have to quickly check your dollar index. But yeah, I agree. I think it's still a lot of emotions flying around at the moment. Let it calm down, let a bit of profit taking come in, and let's see it bounce. It doesn't. Well, I didn't know that. Sorry about that. It continues down. You're not on board. Your choice still. That's what I'm taking. That's my take on it. That's my take on it. If you want to go ahead and short it, that's up to you. If you want to wait, it's up to you. You want to buy it, Monday? Bloody hell, I don't see why not. It's come down to support, give you a due. I think you might get a bounce. I would be going in short right now. Why I'm not going short right now? Because I think it's going to be a bounce. You take that, be careful, and don't get too greedy. It may or may not get back up there. And that would be very smart. Even if it gets back there, make 50, 60, be a happy chappy. But you need a tight stop. You need to stop maybe 30 pip stop, which is very tight. Maybe get some on the 4 hour. Yeah, maybe a 30 pip stop if you want to do that, and then try and take it up and make 50 pips on it. But don't get too big. It's a bit of a pump that, but I think there'll be a profit-taking bounce here. But on a 30 pip stop loss, it hits that. I can tell you right now, it's going to be $3 per micro. What's that in rands? Creates a 54. Yeah. 54 rand a micro at 30 pips. Call it 55 rand a micro. So to take that bounce, which I think is going to occur. If it doesn't, well, you know what your risk is, and it is a punt going against that particular. Because I think it's a knee-jerk reaction, and it's going to suddenly say, "Oh, hang on a minute, let's just take some profit here before, and then settle back." Because a lot of guys out there use the rule, they say 3 days, I think it's too long, but they use the rule when something like that happens and they're not on board, you missed it, take a step back, wait till the dust settles. usually find you have a couple of hours candles of sideways action. You know, you go to an hour and you start saying sideways action before you take the next step. $131.485. That's fair. I'm happy with that. That's fair enough. Then it's continuing down. I'm talking about market. I'm assuming you meant market, but no, I'm happy with that. Basically, the world is very, very worried. When you're very, very worried, you buy gold, and the money comes from a lot of places, but one of them is not the dollar. Dollar was a bit of a safe haven. That's the impression of gold. Now it's more and more the gold is a bull for that reason. That's why people who call me up, should I short the gold? Said no, rather buy the pullbacks. You want to be a long gold. Why did I go long gold? Like I said, 1950, was it yesterday? Chicken, after having a bad run, I didn't show enough confidence in the strategy room, and I think it's picked up on that basis, so it was left. So the normal cop out, sit in the fence, we'll have a look at it later, see what happens. By the time we looked at it later, saw what happens, we'd missed the boat, and I was reluctant to join at 60, maybe pull back a bit, and it didn't. 65, pull back, it didn't. Then it's too late to join. Clearly, I didn't know it was going to get to 2020, but definitely was missed. That was just basically, in all honesty, that was a little bit of lack of confidence, more decisive in my way, because I did like the trade. I'm just being honest with you guys. So we all missed that. I think when we sent out, a lot of guys would have taken on that aspect and would have had a bigger smile on their face. So, you know, felt bad about that. So don't worry about me. I'm doing okay. It's just that, and I've been through this before. I'm more concerned is the guys that follow me, as you say, like doing Facebook. Follow me, yeah. Don't get these knocks. It hurts. So I get the press coming in, or get over jovial when it goes right. But yeah, I think you will get the bounce. Then if you take the man, then did you take it? It's up a couple as we speak, but I think it might happen. And Mars is covered because he's put a sell stop for a lower price anyway. What's that CAD CHF doing? Might have a little bit of a bounce just now. Yeah, that's still doing okay. What's the bloody Dow doing? Sod all by the look of it. But why that's coming off is a good question. Don't know. That Dow should be going up. Excuse me, let's go a little quickly. Yeah. The dollar's still falling, so I don't know what the Dow thinks it's doing. Don't know what the Dow thinks it's doing. Okay, so I can only guess on that. I think the dollar falling, gold shooting up, fear is coming in big time. I've been saying this a long time, the markets are overcooked. Just think off the top of my head here, the markets are overcooked. And the guy's saying, hang on, this short-term bull trap, in my opinion, or bull market, if you like to say, short-term, is a bit extended. Fear is taking place. I think we've had a good run. I'm going to get out of it. And I think maybe start with a couple of shorts on it. And I think that's why it's coming down in tandem because of that reason. Remember, we talked about why sort of the dollar might have gone the same way, or the yields the same way as a gold. Why is that? because the fear factor took over. That's why I went into it. I think the fear factor's taking over, and that's why, despite the fact the dollar's coming off, they start to think, bloody hell, this is a bit of a worry. Let's carry on. I think I'm going to shed my derivative position. I'm not saying the share market, that's different. They're buy and hold. I think the derivative positions are taking. We had a bigger run than expected. I think I'm going to cash in, which means you've got to sell on the long, it comes off. And then, of course, there'll be some short sellers saying, all right, that's good enough. I'm going to do it. There you are. What about that for a not a bad theory, say myself? What do you think of that for a theory? Yeah, it's a theory on a sort of emotional area which plays such a big part. And put yourself on Fani and Cameron, chatting, Marius, whoever, Mandla, put yourself on the position of those guys. You're probably feeling the same. And you're thinking, hang on, this is getting seriously overcooked. I might miss it, it goes up to 34,000, but I'm getting nervous. And I've done a couple hundred pips on this one. I think I'm going to take it. I think that's it. And then they'll look at the chart and maybe say, hang on a minute, I've gone short on it. Maybe the 100-day, which is quite popular, as well as the 50 and 200. I might just get out of it and stand aside. Something like that. But that's a theory I'm coming up with. Why it's to try and rationalize something out of it. Okay. I think it's the same happened to the NAS. Yeah, which in the theory should be good for you. Well, you're a bit late on Microsoft. I'm still at 94, as you know. So, yeah, not my help to you guys. See it better on the 15? Yeah, that's true. So that's doing nicely, yeah. So that's okay. What about the one we just had a look at? You had a sell stop. I tried it on this, just going in blindly on the strategy area. Anything happening there? Well, there you are. It's come off a bit. So I'm not jumping up and down with it, but it's at least 5 or 6, what, 57. It's 5 pips. Remember, you get in on the bid and you get out the arse. So I got in at 57 there, and it's now 51 on this side. So it's 6 pips. So that's okay. I think I'll move my stop to 2 pips away. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, so maybe. More the positive happen with this new strategy, the more side down field, because if it can work in these indescribable conditions, can you imagine it's going to work if when the sense comes back in? Might even get smiles back on Mr. Murray's face. I think he's going to get a smile back on his face is as a case of single malt, not a bottle anymore. Hey.
Yeah, I just don't want to cope with my own headache.
Ah, yeah, sure, that's just typical. Wants the beauty of the yin, but can't handle the sodding yang. Well, I've got just the pill for you. You wake up in the morning, all your trades are right. So there, I find that usually is quite a good hangover cure.
You're right. No, it's true. Just to remain positive. That's the easiest way.
Well, yes, true, but it's got to have a backup as a proper reason, not just say, you know, are on the Titanic, it's a mathematical it's a mathematical 100%. What's the word I use in that film? Mathematical certainty it's going to sink. You can be as positive as you like, it's still sink. We've got to think, right, let's take a step back and think. Let's make a plan. Let's get to a lifeboat before there's not enough to go around, before the other guys get it. In other words, positive is all very well, but often ends up more hope that somebody else is going to look after you. Rather start thinking a little bit, say, yeah, hang on, there are lifeboats. Guys are so busy being positive and forgetting about it. Maybe we should think it. Let's get to the lifeboat. It's not as nice as being on the Titanic, but it's better than sinking with it. So that's why we're looking at strategies and ideas. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's true. You know you're going to sink, so at least when it's the sinking ship, there may be a nice lady in your arms.
Yeah. Fair enough. You sink together. Okay, fair enough. I've never been in that situation, but I don't know how nice a lady is, but I'm just wondering if I think I might leave the lady and go for the lifeboat. Maybe I'm saying too much about myself there. But just to change the subject, I saw something crop up there. So Thomas says, I do that when I lose too much. I break and start again. Now that comment seems to come from someone who's been trading a little bit more than a month or two. Have you been doing this a little bit longer? Have you been trading with some other platforms in Tombi?
You say you leave the lady with the lifeboats.
Yeah, because I don't know, that doesn't seem an attitude that comes from a beginner. That comes from someone a little bit more experienced.
And well disciplined. I must
And
say,
disciplined.
in Tombi,
Nah, yeah, don't believe her. You know what women are like. They're always kidding us men along. You know what they're like. She's probably doing this about 5 years. She's probably got a master's degree in the bloody thing. But anyway, I'm only teasing there. That's an extremely disciplined attitude to have. I'd rather listen to that. That's exactly how it should be. I just hope she's not better looking at me as well, then I really will give up. Mind, that would be very difficult. So I'm sitting in bar low there, shame. I used to be a real handsome chap. Don't get away, man. But they're joking apart, absolutely. Absolutely, Tommy, yeah. Take a break and start again. And think of it and be objective on it. That takes a lot of mental discipline. You're quite right there. No, we haven't got to buy it. We're going to sell on it. GBP CHF, it's not a buy, it's a sell. Why is it a sell? Because on the daily, I think I made a fuck up there. Excuse my language, that came out wrong, didn't it? That should have been a buy. GBP CHF, it should have been a buy. Why did I do a sell? I took that down to sell, jumped in. That should have been a buy. So I got that right by bloody hell. I think I maybe should just get out of it then, because that's the wrong way around. It should be a buy. Daily, it's in the buy zone, so you buy it, and I shouldn't have got in. I should be buying it up here, but I sold it down there, jumped in quickly. So I'm actually going the wrong way, but turning out my big favor, it's doing me a favor. But in theory, that should have been a buy, but getting in here, a full candle above there. Thank you, Marius. Beg your pardon. I do beg your pardon. That's Mandler said it, not Marius, Mandler. Mandler, quite right. Someone's keeping their bloody heads on his shoulders here. Okay, Tom, but yeah. Well, you should have, because you had a couple of good trades out. You should have done. No, you're quite right. Bloody hell, someone's awake here. Wow, sorry about that, guys. You're quite right. That should have been a buy, but it shouldn't have touched. Shouldn't you leave it alone until it got the full candle above there on that principle we've been talking about? Thank you. Sorry about that. So if that comes right, I'll pocket the bucks, but I won't count it. Remember that one. So I wrote that wrong trade. Can't count that. You can't say, oh, I won because I got lucky with the wrong bloody system. No, that doesn't count. Okay. Thanks very much. Now we're going to settle down and look at that one. For a long, right, long on the daily. Is that right? Above. Roger, I'm talking to me now. That is definitely long on the daily. Right. Hourly. Where's the red? Where's the red on here? Yes, it is. I get you, but I think that's a bit of a jump. Do you want to chase it now? Where's 50 pips? It's got to be below here for the 50. That's too far away to be below there. I think that ship sailed. I missed that one. If you want to join it now, that's your choice. If it looks like it's break the upside for longer term, no problem there. If you use the EJ strategy, we can't do that. Like, I cross that one out, whether I make money or not, because it's I got it the wrong way around. I do beg your pardon. But this one, if you're doing because you think it's going to go up, that's a different ball game. We're talking about the EJ strategy. Okay, so you don't want to be on the 1 hour yet because it's too far. You want to be joining it around about these levels. Yeah, because that fundamental stuff did up a bit. But on the bigger picture, if you think it's going to continue above that 10-day moving, not 10-hour, but 10-day moving average, feel free. I wouldn't. I think there's going to be some profit taking. Okay. So if you went to short the GBP CHF, anyone did that, we seem to be doing okay, not much in it, but just be a little bit careful. Okay. You're in a profit, maintain that. Okay. And I do beg your pardon. So the Dow's coming off, so you should all be out of that by now. You see him breaking through here. Don't touch it now, leave it alone. It might come off further in the longer term, which I think it will. That's a different ball game. Then you've got to put the stop up here. We'll get far too far. Maybe a stop up here, but a long way. Even that, I think if it goes up, you get it 34,000. But that's another story. If you think it's going to come flying off and you want to do that, we can chat about it right now, as with the NAS, but it's certainly not an EJ strategy. Personally, I think, I hate to say you might miss out on it, which you could do. I personally think stay aside for the moment. Getting a hell of a choppy. I don't know. I think just stand right now, and I'm not. If I could get a stop above here, I might be more keen. But then you're talking here. Well, that's ridiculous. Over 1,000 pips away. So you're going to do a stop up here, maybe a little bit wider. You could probably work at about 33.8. But the way it's jumping around now, look at that. In 2 days, it did 750. So it's no. I think it might come off from here. I think it's probably reached its zenith, to be honest. But having said that, I think it's a bit too after not to be taking, maybe just stand aside for a moment. Sorry, Sephora, I see you there. Still not getting any brilliant trades out for you at the moment, but we don't want to lose your clients, by just feeding for the sake of it. You know, we want to keep them happy. And I think rather keep them happy, but keeping the money in the pocket at the moment. Are we agreed?
Yep.
Go. Same for the NAS. Can we get something on the NAS? Let's have a look. $700 is too far. 500 is a lot. It's above, at least above around 3,500. That to me is more possibility than the other way around than the Dow, basically. But you'd have to do it on the micro, and if you've got a lot of money, if you can take it on the normal. But I think it might just reach the zenith, but we'll see. Personally, think is even on the micro, just hang five a bit. We've got the non-farms coming in just in day after tomorrow. Then the long weekend where it's all close till Tuesday. I think probably take it easy for the moment. We don't want to send good money after that. Okay, Mundler, fair enough, fair comment. Okay, shall we, on that note, just say that's it, because otherwise, any other explanations? We talked about the EJ thing quite a few times. Just to wrap it up, we'll know you saved your charts. Everyone knows how to go to specifications and check on the specification, like it says, contract size, what it means, margin or deposit, what it means, quickly go down. Our full access means buy or sell it. It says long only, which we don't have. You can't short it, or it says close only. It means you can't enter new trades. You can just exit if you're already in. Those sort of things. I trust you all know what that means now. And you all got the economic calendar and the DXY. Any of those haven't got, this is the time to put your hand up and say so, and I can then furnish you with them, because those things we can control, and those things you need to have. Just wait for case you've got anything on that. If you're all good, that's fine. Not many people left, we haven't gone off in the half. Yeah, Mark just sent me a screenshot of the bloody red coming flying down. 98, whatever that one was. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Yeah, a bit wrong on that one. Thank goodness I wasn't. Okay. Have you noticed lately the fundamentals seem to be doing the opposite? I mean, you should get, I mean, it's pure luck, but it should be 50-50. It seems to be about 80-20 at the moment. No, it's supposed to be there for that, and not just palm you off with trite slogans and glib comments. Is to discuss it openly and yeah, and hopefully find ways around it. I hate it when I come with a sub story and somebody palms me off with some glib slogan. In fact, it irritates me. You know, my wife for 20 years have left and go to see Barney. Oh, my wife for 20 years has left me and I still love her. And he turns around and this is therapeutic help. Don't worry, plenty more fish in the sea. No, you need a bit more than that. Yeah. Okay, guys, if you're all good, then there's only 7 people left anyway. We'll just hope something starts coming tomorrow. Don't forget, 1 o'clock, mostly night anyway, is no. I think you'll learn about it. The Gibson and Nas and the mic. I'm doing a 1-hour session at 1 o'clock tomorrow, but I think most of you guys know it already, so it's not much point. But if you want, you can. Brian's been there, I know. I think Ewan's been there. They know, finally knows. I think Mandela does. Morris definitely does. And Tomby, I think you do. So always join if you want. I'm pretty sure by now you know. So probably not much point, but there it is if you want it. Okay, right. Well, see what we can do tomorrow. Cheers, guys, and thank you for the support. Even the times are tough. Even Mark hadn't joined me because look at this cat JPY because that was just shot down. Okay, guys.
Appreciate it.
And I appreciate it from you guys as well. Thanks, guys.